chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from West St. Paul Studios, it's time for MinneZona Sports Live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back, yes. Episode 265. Wow, that's a lot of episodes, if I can say so myself. Without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way in St. Cloud, Minnesota, at Granite City Studios, Paul the Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
Nothing will truly humble you in this world by realizing only on Tuesday that it is definitely not Friday or the weekend, because I found myself at multiple points yesterday. I was home with Tate all day because someone didn't have daycare during the day. That I realized, man, I can't wait. I'm gonna be able to sleep in tomorrow and whatever. It's like, no, it's only Tuesday. You still have the rest of the week to get through, at least up until I got tomorrow, and then I got Friday off because it's a special day nonetheless. But I'm looking forward to another great show tonight.
Yeah, there's a special day coming through. Yes, we are looking forward.
Yeah,
to
Smiles
that.
for Jake night with the Granite City Lumberjacks. That's what I was talking about. I don't know what you guys are thinking. So
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Totally, for sure.
Totally, wink, wink.
Yeah.
With that being said, yeah, I mean, it's been a week already, but you know what? It's Wednesday. We're here. We have a lot to talk about. There has been news on news on news on news.
Crazy.
These past few weeks, and one of them being your favorite team, your favorite hockey team, that being the Minnesota Wild. Billy G. cooking, trading for quinnhughes of the formerly of the Vancouver Canucks. Big trade. I know Voldy has some thoughts on that. We will discuss and analyze, and you guys let us know what you think of the big trade the Wild had. And not only that, your Minnesota Vikings are winners in jerryworld, yes. How about them Vikings? That's what I said after we beat those stupid Cowboys, and quite frankly, it was very enjoyable, to say the least. I can't wait to talk about that as well. But not only that, Voldy, we have Where Are They Now? I think this might be one of our best Where Are They Nows of this upcoming year. I mean, to be honest,
I think so.
I like our guys. For me, it's a guy who was with Minnesota for a brief period, but jjbarea, yes. I will be talking about jjbarea tonight, his time with the Wolves. Where's he at now? He's not far away, I will say that. So, not only that, but Voldy has a Vikings legend. Voldy, who you got tonight?
I got the great legend out of Carrington, North Dakota, University of North Dakota himself, number 40, Big Jim Kleinsasser. And, of course, a little bit of recency with him that we'll also talk about with the show coming up here for Where Are They Now?
That is exactly right. So we'll be talking about that. ARA will go through in a second and give you a preview of that because it is prize week this week for Pick'em. Yes, we are looking forward to another time for Pick'em. Voldy, I don't really need you to get the hats that much tonight. Oh, wait, I spoiled it. Hey, take a look. We are giving away Week 16 hats, or Week 16 5-year anniversary hats. Yes. Check those bad boys out. You could get one of those. You could be an exclusive MinneZona zoner. I mean, to be quite honest, it's a 5-year anniversary hat we've got them for you. You want them? We got them. That's the main thing. We got, get those picks. And guys, we're getting really close. The Zona bundle is going to be week 18. Get those picks in. Get it done. Let's take a look at the standings as it is right now. Zach Huntley is leading the way now. We've got a new leader, but not too far behind is, he's right there. Yeah, Voldy. Yeah.
How you doing? Yeah.
He's right there. RJ not far behind as well. Matt Johnson and Stuffage, Nathaniel Struffert as well. So get those picks in, and our MinneZona Fantasy Football League, get those lineups set. We're getting close to that as well. And, just make sure you get all that stuff going. So get it done. Now, let's talk about ARA. Tonight, we got the Gophers going to take on New Mexico in the Great Bowl. Okay. I wish it was a better name, but it
really got to emphasize that.
It's interesting. The Minnesota Twins finally revealed the minority owners. Voldy is wearing what our fellow owner craigleopold is a minority owner, so that's good news. But there's a lot of things to talk about in regards to that. A lot of things that have been happening these past few hours, so we'll talk about that. Then the Twins finally make a signing in this offseason. They signed Joshbell. We'll talk about that. And Mahomes and Micahparsons tear their ACLs. Not a great end to the season for either of those players, unfortunately. We will talk about that, the impacts of that as well. A lot of QBs are entering the transfer portal. A lot of people are heading in there and getting the heck out, going somewhere where they would like to, and will hopefully end up things go well. But the grass isn't always greener, as we say here. And then shield shoutouts tonight. Voldy's got some awesome shield shoutouts. I'll give you a hint. That's all I can do. All right. I don't want to reveal too much. With that being said, let's get it going with some Tater Tot Hot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, it's time for Tater Tot Hot Take. It's hot, it's fresh, it's right out of the oven. And the Minnesota Wild, like we said to start off the show, have made a huge deal for defenseman Quinn Hughes. Yes, welcome to Minnesota. The Wild have been on fire since the trade as well. The social media team for the Wild said, welcome to Quinnesota. Get it? We like it a lot. They're playing with swagger. We're happy the way he played. Awesome in his first, in his debut with the Wild. Billy G making the big old trade. Giving up not only a first-round pick, but giving up Marco Rossi as well as Zeev Buyum and who was the third guy, Voldy? Tell me. I thought I had it.
It was Rossi, Buyum, and Liam Ogren.
Ogren, yes, as well.
And so a first-round pick, too.
Yeah, and the first-round pick. So it is a lot to give up. Now, Voldy, I got it. Yes, Liam, you're right on the money. Voldy, you had some thoughts on the socials medias. You definitely had some thoughts, and some people are very excited. Some people are like, pump the brakes. I think they might have given up too much here, the whole deal. Voldy, what do you think of the trade, and any other info that you're willing to share with us, the Zoners and myself? What do you got?
So, immediate face value, when I saw the trade go down, of course, you have to take in a lot of factors. Immediate face value, one guy for three, potentially four guys as well. You throw in the first-round pick with Rossi, Ogren, and Zeev Buyum, up-and-coming, burgeoning players for the Wild at this point. and you trade them for quite possibly the second best defenseman in the NHL right now, best American defenseman for sure, only behind Cale Makar, who just so happens to be Canadian, in those ranks. I thought the Wild absolutely got fleeced. You've got an up-and-coming center in Marco Rossi. You've got a decent enough plug-and-play guy like Liam Ogren, and then you've got an up-and-coming defenseman as well in Zeev Boyum as well, along with that 2026 first-round pick. Maybe or maybe won't be such a great pick given the way the Wild have been this year and probably going into the second half of the season. Right off the bat, I thought, this is not good. This could backfire right away. Now that I've seen what Quinn Hughes has done in his first couple of games with the Wild, I don't feel so bad about it. And right now I can see, okay, sometimes you gotta spend a little money to make a little money for sure. With Rossi, Boyum, and Ogren as well, they're going to get a ton of playing time. They're going to be looked to kind of rebuild things out in Vancouver, and I'm sure they'll have very promising, bright futures as well in the league. That 2026 first round pick as well, I think will be, it'll work for Vancouver because they have been on the downside the last few years and they need all the help that they can get. Right now, I feel good about it, but at the time when I saw the trade, I thought, Wild got absolutely fleeced because we're always just trying to dump away these young guys before we even get them any help too. But if you really look at it, I think the Wild came up on the positive end of this for sure.
That's great to hear. Just kind of how things have gone these past few games. They shut out the Washington Capitals. That is unbelievable. Gus Bus has played amazing. Not only him, but the Great Wall in St. Paul as well has been on fire. But like you said, Voldy, I think this team has got, or Billy has finally said what he was going to do. Now, you might find this interesting. You probably already have heard this, but Bill Guerin, apparently, when this was all going down, he was making meatballs.
Yeah.
He was making meatballs. He's just, and then they got it done. He was happy, and, everyone's...
Better that than him working on wood carving as well. Apparently, he's picked that up as a new hobby in recent years. He's pretty good in the workshop, apparently. So, yeah.
Hey, more power to you. I think, to me, I don't know. I didn't know much about Quinn Hughes, but from what people are telling me, from what I've been gathering, this is something that people have been waiting on for a while. And we've been waiting on that offensive prowess of a good defenseman. You pair him with Kaprizov, Zooks, and all these guys. Boldy's been playing really well, too. So, hey, why not? Why not go out and win a ship this year? Who knows? I mean, I'm not going to go as far to say they're going to, but hey, this doesn't happen often in the state of Minnesota. Going out and getting someone of just great talent, and especially when he and the Canucks were not, he wasn't going to sign long-term with the Canucks. Now, the big question is, and I asked this of the Zoners too, and you, Voldy, is he going to sign a extension with the Wild? I mean, that's the big question in regards to that. I would imagine he would re-sign with the Wild. I mean, things would have to completely nosedive the rest of the season, right, and then maybe he'd reconsider. But I don't think that's going to happen from that perspective. You have two really good goalies that are hot right now. You have Kaprizov, who has been, I think he's like, last I heard, he was third in the league in goals scored. I mean, that's what we want to see from a healthy Kirill Kaprizov, or Dollar Bill Kirill as well. Can't forget that. This team is now becoming what we wanted it these past couple years since Billy G has started. Now is the time to try and get these guys to win in the playoffs, to get closer. You got to win here. And I think this is a very interesting quote from Billy G. He said this during the press conference when they got the deal done. He said, I love Minnesota. Our players love Minnesota. This is a great place to play, but no matter what, whether you have good weather, good taxes, good, I don't know, whatever, the hockey has to be good, is what he pretty much said. And if the hockey's good, if your job is good, you'll be happy, and I think Quinn will be really happy here. So I don't think they would have got him if they didn't think that they could bring him to Minnesota and sign a long-term contract here. Now,
Right.
I think it's a risk. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's a risk. But you know what? You got to take some risks, especially when you're in the Minnesota Wild. You have not gotten past the first round in, was it 2014, Voldy, 2015, whatever it was? I mean, it has been a long time. It's time to get this team to where you want it to be. I like the trade. It's got my stamp of approval if you're doing ARA. And you've seen it these past few games, Voldy. They're fired up about this. I mean, these guys are like, let's go. The rush of adrenaline's running. They go and just shut out the Caps, and then they go beat, unfortunately, your Boston Bruins, Voldy. But, if the Wild are doing well, that's all we care about. So
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. Voldy,
Yeah.
big question. What do you think? Do you think Quinn Hughes will re-sign with the Wild at the end of the season? Just no matter what happens, I doubt that it's going to nosedive unless guys start getting hurt and stuff. But do you think Quinn Hughes will be with the Wild for the years to come?
No, I think with the situation the Wild are in right now, of course, you have one of the premier top, I would probably say top 10 forwards in the NHL with Kirill Kaprizov, and you want him with one of the world's premier defensemen, and that being Quinn Hughes. I feel like just with the way things are kind of turning around here with the Wild, of course, now you've got the great goaltending situation with Wallstead and Gustafsson. You're starting to see some guys pick things up to offensively. 5 straight wins after an up and down start to the year. I feel just with everything that is going into it, and especially now Bill Guerin putting together Team USA for the Olympics, and of course Quinn Hughes being a part of that, I think that would help further even cement the likelihood that he would definitely sign an extension. It's still very much up in the air. I mean, he's 26 right now. I mean, we've got some time to work with him, even with the current contract that's in place. Maybe we attract another Hughes brother here in the next couple of years or so off their back end of their contracts. But I think that this would definitely be a great situation. I think the likelihood is very high that Quinn Hughes would sign an extension for sure.
And this trade shocked the hockey world too. I mean, with that being said, I think he's going to re-sign with the Minnesota Wild as well. I mean, why not? You're playing, like you said, you're playing with all this talent on this team. Why would you, why wouldn't you stay with the Minnesota Wild? And there are some upset Canucks fans. This person says Quinn Hughes is a generational talent. How the F do you trade that? Well, you got that going for you. There's one that says Minnesota Wild, Kirill Kaprizov, Quinn Hughes, the NHL's second-best goaltending tandem in terms of save percentage, multiple impact players under the age of 25, and salary cap room to work this summer. The Stanley Cup window is open. That's what they're saying. That's what we're talking about. You said in the next 5 years, Voldy. I think you're pretty spot on for what we're going with right now. So we will keep an eye on everything in regards to that. I believe the Wild play tomorrow.
Yes, play tomorrow against Columbus.
So we will keep an eye on that and keep it rolling with Hughes and our guy Dollar Bill Kirill and the rest of the guys. So good for the Wild. All right, Voldy, let's get to those Minnesota Vikings. Yes, the big victory over those stupid, idiotic, dumb Cowboys. Yes, I said it. I can't stand those guys. A lot of people can't stand the Cowboys as well. But here's the here's the thing. The Minnesota Vikings were probably watching some of these, or officials or whoever were watching the Bears game versus the Browns. And obviously if the Bears were to lose, the Vikings would still kind of be in the mix. Well, the Bears went and just absolutely destroyed the Browns. Vikings are out of the playoffs. So at this point, we're all thinking, like, this sucks, man. You know? Are they going to have anything to play for? Well, no, they're going to have a lot to play for because you got to get the QB of the future rolling. And boy, did he get rolling. Voldy, he was fantastic. 15 of 24, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, the fluke interception, which it was. It was a fluke. I mean, to be quite honest, the defender made a great play on the ball, and it just landed in Quinnen Williams' hands. I mean, you know, that is what it is. You can't do anything about it, but just good play. Other than that, he was fantastic. He grittied in the end zone. We'll talk more about that as well. Aaron Jones had a nice game. I guess kind of from ground and air combined scrimmage yards was pretty impressive as well. Jordan Addison had a nice couple catches. TJ Hawkinson finally had some nice catches. Speedy Jalen Naylor as well. Voldy, I got to know, what are your thoughts on the Sunday night prime time victory over those hated Dallas Cowboys? What do you got?
I was a little worried at first, especially with the interception right off the bat there for JJ, and I thought, all right, here we go. We're going to throw the ball over a few times and going to have to play catch up from that point against the Dallas Cowboys. But then I remembered, oh yeah, this is the Dallas Cowboys. Nothing is for certain. You give them 17 turnovers, they'd find a way to still lose the game for sure. Just love to see J.J. McCarthy just out there slinging the ball. I mean, 250 yards, any other quarterback would be like, man, that was a slow day. But when J.J.'s only putting up 170, 180 yards and still finding a way to win, even with the mix of the low numbers in the passing game, and then complementing along with the run game too, you definitely like to see how those numbers kind of shifted one direction or the other, and especially now with the passing game get a little bit stronger, find some more deep passes down the field. Nice long throw that Jordan Addison had too. Now it's just going to start to build off that. A lot of guys probably played a little bit more freeing, just knowing the fact, unfortunately, that they're eliminated from the playoffs too, and they can just go out there and just play. And unfortunately, in the process of that, we lose Jonathan Grenard for the rest of the season, which sucks. But I really like to see just the dynamic play that we got out of J.J. McCarthy, and of course finding Jalen Naylor for a couple of tuds. C.J. Ham gets his first touch of the year, really. 1 carry, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. You could retire off that as well for C.J., but he's still got plenty to offer. But again, I definitely like to see that shift a little bit more with a little bit more passing, just getting J.J. more comfortable with that. And then also the run game there. Had a couple of nice runs here and there, but wasn't so, heavily involved there with trying to get the run game started.
Right. And, I think a lot of what they were able to do, and I feel like their big plays got them to short field, and they were able to, stick with them. And I think a lot of credit has to go to the reason why they won is I feel like J.J. McCarthy and the offensive line. I was extremely concerned when I saw Darisaw being out. I was like, there's no way Justin School's going to be able to survive. And I was happily wrong. Congrats to the offensive line of the Vikings. They proved me wrong. I mean, I thought this could be it would be very tough for them, especially against the Dallas front four. That's, exceptional. They definitely got a lot better over the course of the season, especially getting Quinnen Williams and in their linebacking core, adding Logan Wilson. But I wasn't afraid of their defense. I mean, other than that, I don't think the line really, did anything that was going to ruin the game per se. But
Right.
let's take a look at some highlights here with these Vikings. Jalen Naylor, I'm telling you, him and JJ McCarthy have this connection. They know, like Naylor knows that where the ball's going to be, where he's going to, end up with the ball. The first touchdown that he had, was an absolute dart, to say the least. And, he got hurt a little bit, and then Jordan Addison had to put a stim on him to revive him. Did you see? That was so funny.
I did that, yeah.
It was hilarious. And, that gave me – that was pretty funny. And then not only that, you have the other touchdown that he had, a great route, great throw from J.J. McCarthy as well. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the – people are talking about this whole thing, and I feel like it's overblown. Of course, national media likes to just, go overboard on this, but J.J. McCarthy grittying in the end zone and kind of not supposed to do that, made him want to do that a little bit more since O'Connell said no. Voldy, what are your thoughts on kind of that whole grittying situation? Are people like over analyzing that whole thing? What do you think?
I think so. I think we're just putting a little bit too much into it. When you've got as big of a play that kind of happened there and fooled the entire defense, and he just basically obviously grittied all the way to the end zone. It's not like he was taunting anybody in the process of that. I think, just maybe at this point, maybe just I could see it maybe from KLC's perspective of like, all right, it's still a young guy, we got to learn how to be a little bit more professional, things of that sort. But like getting in the end zone in the NFL is hard. So I would definitely hope that a lot of guys take that moment to at least show that, scoring a touchdown is definitely worth it for sure. I had no problem with it, but the fact that we're talking about, other people having an issue with it, I feel like we're putting a little bit too much into it.
Well, apparently some people obviously Vikings legend Chris Carter has been very critical of J.J. McCarthy this past week. No surprise there. He's, it's just who he is. But here's what I'll say about this. When it's that open, what's the issue? That's all I got to say. No one was there. He pulled the Peyton Manning out of his hat, right? Peyton Manning against the Cowboys back in 2015, 2014 or something like that.
I think that game was on Thanksgiving, too, from what I remember. I definitely remember watching that exact moment. I'm like, God damn.
I couldn't see where he went. I was like, where did Peyton Manning? And then I saw him, and I was like, oh, that was sick. Yeah. And then J.J. McCarthy does it, and then all of a sudden people, how dare he gritty right into the end zone. And then some of these Cowboy fans are like, how dare he gritty on us. We just let 9 gritty on us and everything like that. It's just like, oh, my God, you guys are just making something out of nothing. Now, they're like, oh, he's acting like a kid. He's acting like a kid. Yeah, because he is a kid. He's one of the youngest players in the leagues, you morons. Jeez. Let the kid play. That's just how he plays. And no one's really talking about, he did the whole Carmelo thing with Reichert and whatnot. He's celebrating with his teammate. They did the Carmelo thing, the 3 points right to the head and everything. He's just celebrating. Calm down. And, I just think people are overblowing it. And, all this hate with McCarthy saying, he sucks, 9 sucks, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. Look, he's had 2 straight games of great quarterback play, and people are like, well, their defenses weren't very good. They're NFL teams. It doesn't matter if it could be the worst. It could be the Bengals, for goodness sake. He was stellar. He was great. And, the thing is that you're quick to make these judgments. We're so reactionary nowadays. And look what's happening. He's starting to understand it. I'm not saying that they dumbed down the offense, but they simplified it to fit his skill set. Now, the big question, and, we'll move on after this, but Justin Jefferson, he had 2 catches, 22 yards. He had more yards. I just wish he would have caught that touchdown. That's the main thing with that. Yeah. J.J. McCarthy had it right to him. Had a couple opportunities as well. Didn't follow through. Could have been better throws, maybe. But at the same time, if it hits your hands, you got to catch that damn thing. So it sounds like Justin is still having a good time, and he's still, working with everyone, and he's dapping up. I mean, he's not making it tough in the locker room or anything like that. And he's been very supportive and whatnot. But Voldy, I just, again, another overblown thing. But I think eventually this connection is going to get going. And it's going to get going, I think, this upcoming week against the Giants. What other team right now, you can't go up against, well, Detroit, I think you probably get something against them. The Packers, who knows? They could take a nosedive and then all of a sudden they're out of the playoffs.
They're good.
But I think this game this week is the perfect time for the Vikings to unleash Justin Jefferson. So the question I ask of you is this. He's like 160, 150 yards away from 1,000. I know I said bold prediction, you get to 1,000 and, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But I think, with that being said, I think he's going to get there. I honestly think he's going to get there. Now, the question being with Justin Jefferson is, well, what's going to happen at the end of the season? Is he going to want to one out and things like that? I mean, that remains to be seen. It's not the case, but it would really help if he went off on Sunday. And I think he will. I mean, that's what it comes down to as well. So we'll see what happens there. As Voldy, we're about to ask you, and then all of a sudden something went haywire.
Illuminati, man, they're tuning in.
They're tuning in. So Voldy, will Justin Jefferson get his 1,000 yards by the end of the year?
Oh yeah, I think so too. Especially the last couple of games here on the season. I mean, he could very well reach it this week against the Giants for sure. They're a team that's reeling. I mean, at the beginning of the season, you thought maybe they'd be able to put something together here, but things have just not been looking too good here for a team that's looking to put themselves up on a much higher end for sure. I think for sure Justin Jefferson gets that 1,000 yards.
One would hope. I think he will. Giants this Sunday at noon at New York. It'll be a tough game nonetheless, just because, I know they're 2 and whatever, but, we want to see the progression with McCarthy, and it's starting to get there. Let's keep it rolling these next few weeks. So, Skol Vikes the whole deal, and we'll see what happens Sunday. All right, that'll do it for Tater Tot Hot Take this week. We have... where are they now? We've got a stacked lineup tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Mine being jjbarea. Yes. I feel like he was one of the better point guards in Minnesota during that time, and it was not a great time for the Minnesota Timberwolves, to say the least. We'll talk about his career here as well. But Voldy has a Minnesota Vikings legend, jimkleinsasser. Yes, sirree, Bob. Let's go. And, I mean, he was quite important those years when he was a Viking, and he was, he did everything. He catched footballs, he blocked, he could do everything. The Kleinsasser was amazing. So, with that being said, I think we should take a look and see, where are they now? Where do they go? Are they here, there, where, there, there, here?
Check your milk carton. It's time for Where Are They Now?
Well, there you go. Where are they now? We start tonight. I'll go with Barea because I feel like Jim Kleinsasser. We got to end things with the Kleinsasser. So I'll start with jjbarea tonight. jjbarea, he is one of those players that I have felt that has done really well in his time with the Minnesota Timberwolves. But before we get into that, let's take a look at where he was before he entered the association. His full name is Jose Juan Barea Mora. He was the Puerto Rican basketball coach, obviously former player. Played college basketball for the Northeastern Huskies before joining the Dallas Mavericks. Yes, he was with the Mavs in 2006 as well. He went on to win NBA championship in 2011 and on the team that beat LeBron James, D. Wade, the Big Three, in that finals as well. So jjbarea, he enrolled at Northeastern University. He went back to Puerto Rico after he was with Northeastern. Played a little basketball there. He was the conference leading scorer, conference leading 17 points to go along with 3 rebounds, 3 assists per game, almost 2 steals per game as well. So he was quite renowned, especially over there. And then he played a couple more years, and then eventually he was drafted by the by the Mavericks, excuse me. And he was with them from 2006 to 2009, and he signed that multi-year deal. He made his regular season debut for the franchise on November 2006 in a loss versus the Rockets. Obviously, he hasn't gone through a full season or anything like that because he was sent down to the Fort Worth Flyers in the development league, which you kind of have to get your feet wet a little bit and start going. But he didn't stay there long, to say the least. He actually was recalled by the Mavs, and he was called up again because he was averaging 27 points per game, 5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, and a steal per game. That is pretty damn good. So you're going to want to bring him back up. He had 16 points in his return back to the NBA against the Jazz. So he was doing quite well, and he was kind of around. He was kind of coming off the bench, kind of coming out and doing some things, but the Mavs still had Dirk, and they were still a juggernaut. But he then that season he had a career high 25 points and a victory over the Kings, and then things just kept he kept getting better. He kept playing. And then he goes in 2008, we'll fast forward, re-signs with the Mavericks. 3-year deal. Pretty spot on, pretty cool. His role on the team changed, dramatically because they had a lot of injuries. Tell me if you've heard of these names. Jerry Stackhouse, Josh Howard, Jason Terry. Yes, Jason Terry as well. So Rick Carlisle started, using the 3-guard lineup, and it worked pretty well. Him and Jason Kidd, yes, Jason Kidd back was with the Mavs at that time, and he was quite efficient, and especially in 2009, scored a career high 26 points in the loss to the Rockets. But in the playoffs, he replaced Antoine Wright in an effort to try and maybe contain one of the greats, Tony Parker of the Spurs. Put up 13 points, added 7 assists in his first playoff start. Not bad. So then we fast forward to the year that they, won it. And he wanted to stay with the team, and they exercised an extension. Gave him the team option on his contract from 2010 to 2011. And boy, did it pay off for jjbarea. jjbarea played a career-high 81 regular season games, averaging 9.5 points, 2 rebounds, and 3.5 assists in 20 minutes per contest. He was coming off the bench. Obviously, you have Jason Kidd running things at point and whatnot, but for him to come off the bench and be efficient like he was, shows a lot of growth at the time. So, he was very effective in the playoffs, and they were able to beat the Lakers. Yeah, they beat the Lakers. It was a very good series, and apparently Kobe Bryant was on record, Voldy, which is interesting in itself, and he said, Barea kicked our ass, is what he said, which is kind of cool to hear from, one of the NBA legends of all time as well. Apparently there was an incident, but we won't get into that with Andrew Bynum. Let's move forward. NBA Finals. Miami Heat, you got the big three. jjbarea started to start in some of these games. They were down 2-1 in the series. He became instrumental in them beating the Heat. He was averaging, almost 9 points a game. Not many rebounds, which, he's a smaller guy. But he was effective coming off the bench and defeating the big three. And it's, and the Mavs win their first championship. He is a NBA champion, which is cool to say. But things didn't really turn out after that whole awesome season, because failed negotiations with the Mavs to re-sign Barea looked elsewhere, but because of the NBA lockout, he was unable to sign with another franchise. So he's kind of stuck in that limbo. But at the conclusion of the lockout, where does he get signed? Oh, I know. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, he signed a 4-year, $19 million contract with the Minnesota Timberwolves. We love that. I thought this was kind of a sneaky pickup because I liked what I saw from him. I mean, he was very good with the Mavs, and he could definitely do some things. And, he was very effective, but his first season was kind of hampered with injuries and stuff like that. He only played 41 games, that first season. But he recorded his first triple-double in 2012, putting up 25 points along with 10 rebounds and 14 assists and a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The last weeks of the season, things didn't turn out well. Injuries to Ricky Rubio, yes, Cole Munson, you know who, Kevin Love, Luke Ridnour, we know Luke Ridnour, and he had a great end of the season, averaging 15 points per game, almost 10 assists, and during that period, he tallied 28 points and a career-high 15 assists. So jjbarea was efficient. He was very good for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And he, the thing is, that's what they needed. I mean, they didn't really have they didn't really have an answer to, what they had. They had Kevin Love, but, Kevin Love eventually moved on and so on and so forth. So, he was kind of back up to Ricky Rubio, and, he had great offensive games. He was starting to kind of become, one with the team, but in January, Kevin Love indirectly criticized teammates Barea and Dante Cunningham for their behavior during game timeouts. Not sure what that was. I know that, jjbarea definitely said some things too. It wasn't a good locker room during that whole stint, to say the least. But on October 27th in 2014, he was waived by the Timberwolves in the hope of returning to the Dallas Mavericks. And yes, he did, in fact, return to Dallas. So he gets back to Dallas, signs contract, second stint. He received a standing ovation in his first game back, so good for him. And he played pretty well that season. In 2015, he had 22 points, 8 of 15 shooting as well. So he was with it for them with the long haul because he re-signed with the Mavs on a 4-year, $16 million contract. So a couple good years. He was, very efficient with the Mavs. Unfortunately, on January 11th, he tore his Achilles tendon in a game against who? Minnesota Timberwolves. Underwent surgery 3 days later. But on August 2019, he got re-signed to the Mavericks. He only played in 29 games that season. Only played 15 minutes per game. He re-signed for another year in December 1, 2020. But 9 days later, he was waived. So that was the ending of his time in Dallas. But that didn't end for him to do some other things. He then signs with a team that I probably will screw this up, but Movistar Estudiantes of the LEB Oro. So he played some basketball down there, and he was fairly good. Averaged 12 points per game, 4 assists, only a couple turnovers. He played 22 minutes. Then after that, he left the team, and then he returned to kind of Hieros Santurce. I don't know, however that is. And he played well too, 12 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 23 contests. He resigned with the team, but then at the end of the season, he officially announced his retirement from professional basketball. So, jjbarea, where is he now? Well, a couple things. He was very instrumental in coaching, and he did some coaching. He was the head of Indios de Mayagüez of the BSN, and then he was hired by the Dallas Mavericks as a player development coach in 2021. And then, he obviously wanted to play basketball. Then he was, of May of 2023, he was the general manager of the Grises Humacao of the BSN, and then was appointed head coach of the Mets de Guaynabo. I probably butchered that, but we'll go with that. For the BSN as well. So basketball as well over there. They qualified for the postseason. They were eliminated in the quarterfinals, unfortunately. And unfortunately, he was fired of May 2025. So very, very recent. Just replaced by Josh King. But big news out of that. On July 1st, 2025, he was hired by the Denver Nuggets as assistant coach. So, jjbarea right now, where is he now? He's coaching with the Denver Nuggets. So he's doing quite well. He's coaching there. That's great to hear. He's a hell of a basketball player. His time with Minnesota, I thought, was successful. I just think that things started to kind of snowball a little bit with the K-Love deal, Ricky Rubio as well. It just there wasn't really a true leader on the Timberwolves at that point. But jjbarea doing well, coaching. He's still very much involved with basketball. So that's where he's at. Shout out jjbarea. Want to come on the show? More than happy to have you.
Mama.
All right, Voldy, it's time. Kleinsasser.
Mama.
Well, starting off here, of course, there are very few synonymous names when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings, and maybe This guy, Jim Kleinsasser, didn't exactly always jump off the page, but when he was on the field, the upper Midwest was more than happy. We got a little bit more taste of that when Carson Wentz took the field for the Minnesota Vikings earlier this season because he was one of our own. He was a Vikings fan growing up. He's from the great state of North Dakota. And, well, Jim Kleinsasser was one of the early beginnings of that, too. Legendary high school player out of Carrington, North Dakota, where he was, of course, a multi-sport athlete, excelling in football, but of course was also a very of course, he was holding many records at the state track and field meet in the state of North Dakota in the discus throw and also in shot put in his time. Of course, was the Gatorade Circle of Champions North Dakota Player of the Year in his time, where he was, of course, a Letterman standout in, of course, football, basketball, as well as track and field. But of course, collegiately, maybe a guy coming out of Carrington, North Dakota, there are a few places you could go, one of which just so happened to be the University of North Dakota from 95 to 98, a Division II school at the time. Kleinsasser saw nothing but success in his time at UND, where the Fighting Sioux at that point were 32-10 in that 4-year span for Kleinsasser, and of course earning 2 Division II playoff appearances in Grand Forks and also claiming the conference title at that time in the NCC, the North Central Conference, with a 92 record and also finishing 28-8 in conference action in his time at UND. But of course, bigger things were still on the way for Jim Kleinsasser and, of course, in his football career. A very stout individual listed at just under 6'3", 280 pounds at one point collegiately. Kleinsasser would go on to be drafted by the Minnesota Vikings in the second round, believe it or not, in 1999. That would be, of course, in that same draft, the Minnesota Vikings would draft with their first pick, 11 overall, someone by the name of Dante Culpepper, believe it or not. Culpepper and Kleinsasser were in the same draft. Now, following, of course, the draft, there were a few question marks of what to do with Kleinsasser, of course, as a big enough individual. Maybe you make him a lineman. Do you keep him at tight end? The Vikings early on wanted him to be more that fullback position. Of course, a guy like Kleinsasser, not really going to be known for toting the football overall, but he did get some touches here and there. He was on there for his blocking prowess and got a little bit of love here and there. Of course, him being drafted and playing in 1999, wouldn't see really great success up until the 2003 season, where he had his career best year, given the fact he scored 4 of his 6 career touchdowns in that season, and in fact was a league leader, and believe it or not, in this stat, that, believe it or not, according to Pro Football Reference, Jim Kleinsasser led the NFL in receiving success rate. That, let me break this down here for you. A successful reception gains at least 40% of the yards required on first down, 60% of the yards on second down, and 100% on third or fourth down, the denominator being target. So believe it or not, Jim Kleinsasser led the league in 2003, 66.1% success rate when he was receiving the football. But of course, 4 of those 6 career touchdowns weren't exactly going to be putting him in the Canton, Ohio at that point with his, but still, he played all 11 years of his career, 13 years, I should say, in Minnesota. Had one hiccup, of course, only playing just 1 game in 2004 at the age of 27, but still found a way throughout his career. Started all 16 games in 2005, double-digit starts all the way up until the end, where his career came to an end at the age of 34. In 16 games, put up, of course, 11 games started, was a lead block as well for the great year that Adrian Peterson had in his rookie season in 2007, where AP did go off for those 1,700 yards on the ground for Kleinsasser. Now, of course, with those career accolades that he did have all in one season, you thought as he rode off into the sunset, that would be it. Just kind of a passing fable in time for the Vikings legend, and of course in his time with in the purple and gold, and closing out the Metrodome, and of course finishing off in his career as a one-team player. But more recognition would come to the way of Jim Kleinsasser, believe it or not, in the calendar year of 2025. It was announced in January 12th of 2025 that Jim Kleinsasser would become just the second player from the University of North Dakota to be enshrined into the National Collegiate Football Hall of Fame, believe it or not, and just so happened to be, the College Football Hall of Fame. And the ceremony was actually held not too long ago in Las Vegas, Nevada, joining the class of 2025. And this class of 2025 certainly is not short of notable names. Let's run down this list that Jim Kleinsasser just so happens to be in with. Former University of Wisconsin running back Monte Ball. Also on there, former Texas Tech University quarterback Graham Harrell, guns up, TTU. Also joining him, former center from the University of California, Alex Mack. Defensive tackle from Oregon, Haloti Ngata. Former running back, one of the many Steve Slaytons, Steve Slayton out of West Virginia. Also a defensive lineman from just a little Texas Southern University, that being Michael Strahan. A quarterback out of Virginia Tech. You ever heard of Michael Vick? Just so happens to be a College Football Hall of Famer. And also joining in the coaches section, Urban Meyer and Nick Saban. So a stacked upon stacked class of 2025. And of course, just the second UND football player to join the ranks also came with the hands of Jim McClary, former linebacker from 1970 to 1971, who was inducted all the way back in 1999. Now, you're probably wondering, of course, being a Hall of Famer now in college football, what is Jim Kleinsasser up to nowadays? Now, he has been spotted around the region in years past, of course, being, quote unquote, just being a dad, of course, coaching, and of course, following his kids in their school sports and activities. But Jim Kleinsasser always holds a special place in not only, of course, Minnesota Vikings fans' hearts, but of course, anybody that got to see the success of him coming from, of course, Carrington to the University of North Dakota and Minnesota, just carving his way through through those times, of course, being a Division II football player, getting drafted in the second round, and then also being a mainstay among the Vikings. Again, didn't put up big outlandish numbers of any sort, with, of course, the notable tight ends that came through in his tenure as a Viking. Of course, let's not even talk about all the coaches that he saw in his time with the Vikings, but still was a consistent enough factor on the team to garner a roster spot and be a productive enough player for the Vikings for many years. In 13 years, still holds a lot of merit, and hopefully someday soon we'll maybe be able to fully appreciate that Jim Kleinsasser did have his impact on the Minnesota Vikings, and that's where he is now. Just living life, doing his best, and being a dad for sure. And a College Football Hall of Fame.
Hey, that's not too shabby, to say the least. Just a legend. I mean, quite honestly, not only, at UND, but a Minnesota Vikings legend. I mean, for goodness sake, all of the things all the seasons he was there, and especially like him wanting to be in Minnesota, as well as his blocking. I mean, he was instrumental in the development of AP. I mean, it is so cool to see him finally get that as well, and the recognition he so rightly deserves. So glad to hear he's doing great. I mean, that's awesome, and seems like he's enjoying it. Now, real quick, I did want to bring this one up. When jjbarea was with the Minnesota Timberwolves, I do want to bring up, kind of talk about, he called out a lot of the Timberwolves. He said that, we have a lot of guys that don't care right now.
Right.
Pretty much calling out everyone on the T-Wolves. And then also, not only that, him saying, having some beef with K-Love. And he just wished that K-Love would have came up to him face-to-face, man-to-man, and just said it. They had some beef, apparently, and, that was kind of one of those things where, things weren't good. I mean, it was that simple. Things weren't good in Minnesota. It was time to kind of look towards the future and whatnot, and, here we are now. So that's all that matters. So that's who we got. jjbarea, jimkleinsasser, two
Yes, sir.
former Minnesota. Yeah, that's right. There we go. Let's go. And, congrats. And you're more than welcome to hop on the show anytime. We'd love to have you. Glad to see both of them are doing well. So, all right, Voldy, it is that time. A, we have a stacked lineup. We got to get through it. The Gophers to face New Mexico, the Lobos, in the Rate Bowl. Can't wait to see what happens there. The Minnesota Twins bring in the new minority owners, one of them being Craigleopold. We will talk about that. I definitely have a lot of thoughts in regards to that. And not only that, the Twins sign Joshbell in free agency. Really cool to add a guy who's been around, but he's okay. He's not bad. Patrick Mahomes, micahparsons, tear their ACLs this past Sunday. Not good for either teams, obviously. The Chiefs eliminated. Lost season for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Packers, lose their top guy on defense. So we'll talk about that. And now we got the QBs in the transfer portal to discuss as well. So, with that being said, let's get it going with some absurd or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it's time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Of course, we are in the midst of college football bowl season instead of those that are waiting for the college football playoff, which will be coming up here on Friday. The University of Minnesota enters, of course, the bowling season with a vaunted matchup that will be for the first time ever against the New Mexico Lobos in the Rate Bowl, formerly known as the P.O.D. Rate Bowl for sure. That game taking place in Phoenix. That will be taking at Chase Field, the home of the Arizona Diamondbacks. December 20th will be a 3:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff between the Gophers and New Mexico. Now, the Gophers have won 8 straight bowl games, 6 under head coach P.J. Fleck, and they look to continue on with this recent streak that they have of success in the bowl game. Of course, 8 straight bowl wins, 6 of which I just said under PJ Fleck, dating all the way back to the 2018 Quick Lane Bowl that the Gophers did win against the likes of Georgia Tech. Now, the Gophers, of course, seen success on the field here this year, but look to continue on with this stretch that they do have with PJ Fleck's 6 bowl wins, which is just under 50%, nearly half of all the bowl wins in program history have happened under the tenure of P.J. Fleck. Now, with the Gophers heading to the Rate Bowl against New Mexico, is it absurd or approved? Will the Gophers win the Rate Bowl against the Lobos?
All they do is win in bowl games, and I think they're going to as well. So, yes, it's got my stamp of approval. The Gophers will win against the Lobos. You mentioned it. I mean, they have, the record. PJ Fleck has this team ready to roll. Now, no matter what you say about the whole bowl game situation, we all know the story. We all understand that, it's probably going to be dying in the next few years because the NCAA doesn't know how to figure out their own college football playoff, to say the least. But, the Gophers playing on December 26th. I did take that day off from work, so I will be definitely taking a look at that game. Now, the fact that it's going to be at Chase Field, which is kind of cool. I like that. That's a good place to play. They're in Phoenix. no mayo you have to deal with this year. Especially getting dunked on with mayo. That was absolutely disgusting. They played in the rape. I did not know they played in the Rate Bowl in 2021 against West Virginia. Wow, I did
Yeah, I
not know
believe
that.
that was the game. Wasn't Daniel Fa'alele still on the team then, I believe?
I bet, yeah.
I think they tried to throw him a touchdown pass in that game, or like he rushed for a touchdown or something like that. Yeah, because that was the.
I think you're right.
That was the Tanner Morgan. That was the send off for that squad. I think all those studs then. So yeah, I kind of remember that. It's like when I saw they were going to the Rate Bowl, I'm like, wasn't that the guaranteed Rate Bowl? Now we're just cutting down on words. Next thing you know, it's just going to be the R Bowl or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Why we keep changing names.
And and some of these names are kind of weak, but I mean, let's put it this way. If you're not able to win those games, we're talking about people wanting him out. Well, he's winning those games. And it's like, there's nothing to say. There's nothing to be, happy about with winning a bowl game. It doesn't matter. It's like, matters to those guys. Look, you go to those bowl games. You get some cool stuff. I mean, seriously, Voldy, I don't know about you, but like they were getting free Xboxes at one time. They were getting free money, and I mean, they're getting all this cool stuff by going to these bowl games. You think that they're not going to be motivated? Yeah, they are motivated. So I think they're going to be just fine. I think they're going to win. Keep the streak going. And the Lobos, I mean, they don't play too many very good teams either. But, they might, who knows? They could pull off the upset. Who knows? But I'll go with the Gophs. I think they'll get it done. It's got my stamp of approval. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think when it comes to like bowl games and obviously playing in those matchups, it's not so much really about the players that are on the team. It's about recruiting. Of course, this is a chance that the Gophers and the coaching staff do get a chance here to even see a little bit of success, and of course, try to bring in or at least show a little bit like, hey, we are out here. We had a good year, and now we're playing in these bowl games that, sure, they're not like, back in 2020, we're playing the Outback Bowl or, anything of that sort. The big New Year's Six, at least they were back in the day for sure, or in the college football playoff. But stuff like this matters from a recruiting standpoint, and being able to get your team out there and saying, postseason success doesn't matter. Obviously, doesn't know that bigger things are at play other than just what you see on the field. And just you have to remind yourself too of the success that PJ Fleck has had in these bowl games too. I mean, 6-0, it's hard to believe. Now, if we can only just translate that a little bit more into the regular season and beating Iowa, Michigan, of course, with a little bit more towards Wisconsin as well. If we could win a little bit more of those conference games than we saw back in 2019, those numbers will beef up, but just a hair more, I would feel like. But, I think them winning, I think it'll be nice. I think, yes, the Gophers will beat the Lobos for sure. But, these bowl games, a lot of weird things can happen for sure. So I see this as a win for the Gophers, definitely.
Yep. Keep the streak going. Let's keep it going. That's the main thing. And it only helps for the Gophs, I'd say, too. So we like it. All right. Next one, Voldy.
Well, it was announced here earlier today that the Minnesota Twins have finalized ownership purchases of portions to 3 different investors, limited partnerships that the P.O.D family sought as a infusion, of course, of cash and strategy after a year that saw them in declining of control of the club, or at least them saying that they will be continuing to have majority control of the club. Now, it was also announced here today that the Twins, on top of the partnerships that they added in with these new investors, plan to make Tom Pohlad the controlling owner and primary liaison to the league in place of his younger brother, Joe Pohlad, as part of the new executive leadership structure coinciding with the new investors. Now, you're probably asking about these new investors. Who are they? Well, it just so happens that the non-controlling minority interests will go to a section of Glick Family Investments, a multi-generational New York venture capital firm, a group of Minnesota business leaders spearheaded by George Hicks, and of course, Minnesota Wild owner Craigleopold has bought stock in the Twins. Now, this no full size of the stakes of the team were fully disclosed, but it still has to be yet approved. The being the controlling person of Tom Pohlad must be approved by the league. Now, with these announcements that are taking place with the investment of these new minority owners, and of course changing of the Twins, is it absurd or approved with the addition of new owners in Tom Pohlad potentially controlling the team that the Twins will be more competitive in the 2026 Major League Baseball season?
You know, it's unbelievable to me how just brain dead these owners are. And that's not to throw shade at Leopold for coming in, and because a guy that's actually spending money and wanting his team to win is a good move on that part. And, you know, having the Minnesota connections, I get that. What I don't understand, and what I will always, you know, hate on the Pohlads for one, is why are you replacing a Pohlad with another Pohlad?
Mm-hmm.
It makes zero sense to put in another guy and think that things are going to change. Look, it has been proven. We have said this numerous times on this show that if your last name is Pohlad, all you care about is your damn self and the family name and everything like that. Nothing is going to change with him. With him coming, I don't care if your name is Tom, Bill, Bob, Joe, I don't care. If your last name is Pohlad, that's all I need to know. Because nothing, and I repeat, nothing will change, since they have to keep their eye on everything that goes around here. Now, Voldy, you'll find this interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just before the show, I usually watch WCCO, you know, get caught up on some news stuff. Mike Max was reporting the whole deal with Tom Pohlad, and he actually did talk to some media a little bit, which is kind of surprising because they never do that. The most egregious thing that I heard from what he said is he goes, I got a lot to learn about the baseball side of things and how to get that. I'm like, hold on. Did you just say that you don't know how to operate an MLB baseball team and not like, you know, I have a lot to learn with this and this and that? What the hell is wrong with these people? I mean, for goodness sake, you're just putting in an idiot and replacing him with another idiot. Seriously? I mean, what are we doing here? You guys clearly are trying to pay off that debt, so you brought in these investors and say, look, you figure it out, and, you know, so we don't have all this debt on our hands. But, you know, we're going to throw in our guy to lead the things around here and be, you know, at the forefront of baseball operations. Well, guess what? You have the biggest uphill battle, Tom Pohlad, trying to turn these things around. Now, let's take a look at what he said, too. He said this, and this is probably up for absurd statement. My uncle and my brother have led this organization with integrity, dedication, and genuine love for the game. I say to that, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. As I assume my new role, I do so with great respect for our history and clear focus on the future, one defined by accountability and stewardship. Fail on that one, fail on the other one, in our relentless pursuit of a championship. But it gets very interesting from there because they put out that, but then they also send to season ticket holders that are relentless pursuit of winning. Okay, you just said that you would go for a championship. Now you're just saying it with winning. Did you just, oh shoot, I should have said championship there. This is an absolute clown show. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They have zero idea what to do. And they bring in all these yes men and try to get things going, and it's just like, we'll figure out the baseball side of things, and Rome wasn't built in a day, and they keep saying all these things just to try to give you hope. And then we got to try to win back the fan base and whatnot. You're not going to win back the fan base because why? Your last name is Pohlad. That's all people need to know. If your last name is Pohlad, this thing is going to go down the shitter. It will. Because if we have learned anything, not even from these past couple years, but even before that, this team refuses to spend money. And they will refuse to spend money no matter what. I don't care if they bring in all these other investors. They will remain the same. How are you going to bring people back to Target Field? You have no plan. You have not even told anybody your plan about bringing people back to Target Field. You have been an abject failure these past few years. So what is your plan? What you keep saying all these things, and you don't specifically say what you're going to do. Don't be a bunch of cowards and sit there twiddling your thumbs, hoping that things are going to change. You guys have to be at the forefront, and you guys have to be available to the media and talk to Twins fans directly instead of sitting there in your ivory tower and just hoping things are going to, figure themselves out. Sell the freaking team, you absolute imbeciles. Do it. We're sick and tired of your bullshit. I'm tired of the poll ads and this whole notion that everything's going to be different. Everything's going to be different. It's not. They're going to be absolutely terrible. So, back to your question, Voldy. Will the addition of the new owners and Tom Pohlad, will the Twins be more competitive in 2026? Absolutely not. Absurd. They will not be. And again, like I said, I will not be stepping foot inside that ballpark in the foreseeable future because they're not competitive. They're not serious. Why spend my money? Anyway, Voldy, what do you think?
This is you're just throwing more gasoline on a fire that will just never see to end the light of day. I see this as so many things going on wrong. Let's really address the elephant in the room here. Tom Pohlad coming in, he's never had a role with the ball club before, and yet now he's going to be the one that's going to be in charge, basically, as the controlling person for the team. That is not good, especially with the last two guys that have conducted themselves, we'll say poorly is the most PG word that we could probably put out there. And now they're just passing the buck off one guy after the next. And now let's give it to a guy who has no idea what's going on and actually is completely ignorant to the fact because he has no idea what's going on. While the other two certainly had a lot more interest in what was going on, but still couldn't come up with anything really positive out of their runs as the controlling faces of the organization. Now, the next part that I find most troubling too, or at least something that could be a little less troubling, is the fact of the investment that one of the investors just so happens to be the Wild owner in Craigleopold. Now, to how much activeness he'll have with the franchise, I'm not sure, but at least I would hope that maybe if Tom Pohlad is approved by Major League Baseball to becoming the controlling person, would hopefully lean on someone like a Craigleopold to say, hey, what do you know? What do I need to know? What can I do to be the best out of this situation to at least know what I'm going to be dealing with and how I can be the best out of this position because he has no experience out of it. I don't see this as a really good start for any sort of positiveness for 2026. Will they be more competitive? Is yet to be seen. With the sudden inflow of cash, hopefully that takes out that large chunk of debt that the Twins are still in, apparently, and hopefully that translates to on the field. Because with right now, with what we're seeing, I say no. I don't think the Twins are going to be much more competitive than where they are right now for 2026. So I think it's absurd.
I can't wait to see those opening day attendance numbers. I can't wait to see them because it's going to be probably one of the worst of all time. And these streaming services, people can't watch them because you have to pay a stupid ass subscription and all this other nonsense. And I mean, they have got to be the most brain dead people ever, the poll ads. So yeah, I mean, it's not going to get any better. It's not, because they're going to screw something up, and they're already screwing it up by having their last name as poll ads. So there you go. All right, but we're sticking with the Twins, Voldy.
Yes, the Twins decided to make a somewhat move on the field to hopefully get a little bit more juice in the lineup, as the Twins came to a deal with a traveling first baseman, switch hitter, and defensive, designated hitter Josh Bell on a 1-year, $7 million contract with a mutual option as a need for the Twins at that first base position, which was very well traveled after last season. Now, Josh Bell did finish off last season in Washington, where he had 22 home runs, 63 RBIs with the Washington Nationals, as he has been with the team after 3 consecutive seasons where he was moved at the trade deadline. So he has definitely been around the world and back. But the Twins definitely need a little bit of boost in the lineup at that first base position. After last year, that saw Ty France and Cody Clemens get the bulk of the starts at that first base bag. Now with Josh Bell, who has put up some productive numbers in his career despite being a well-traveled first baseman, is it absurd or approved with Josh Bell in the lineup at first base? Will it be over under 20.5 home runs this season for Josh Bell at first base?
Well, I'm not going to go off as I did this past story, but look, any person that they sign, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I hope this will work well. He's been with like 8 teams already before this in his career, but he's been productive, which I think is very positive for the Minnesota Twins baseball wise. Now, I'm still kind of upset that they haven't been super active to start off here especially at the winter meetings and all this, all these, people. And I think one of those things to win back fans to go out and get, somebody. And I think, I think that there's still time. I mean, there's still time. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But, adding another first baseman that has been proven to be, quite good. Like, I think he's going to be, pretty good. I don't think it's going to be as big of an impact as we're thinking. And, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because, I feel like, there's been some guys that they've signed in the past that have actually done quite well, too. I mean, Nelson Cruz was a guy that we're like, I don't know. And he was awesome. I mean, it's not like some of the signings have been complete, utter disasters. I don't think this one is by any means. And especially for you putting the over-under for the home runs here. But I think they are going to struggle mightily this year. And the fact that we really haven't heard any deal with, Buxton waiving his no trade clause and everything in regards to that as well. But 1-year deal, again, it's the poll ad way. Sign him a 1-year deal, see if he's good, and if he's not, then they move on. Or trade him for that instance. I'm going to take the under on that just because I just think they're going to be a train wreck this year. I really do. And, it sounds like they might be keeping Joe Ryne, which is good. Lopez, I don't know. That's kind of up in the air right now. But I'll take the under. So I probably say absurd for over. So, Voldy, what do you got?
Yeah, the Minnesota Twins, of course, with France and Clemens at first base this year. 15 home runs between the two of them, second fewest in the league at that position. Of course, it has really seen a strong turnover at that first base bag pretty much ever since Justin Morneau retired. I mean, Joe Mauer, of course, too. And then you had the 1 year with CJ Crone and the Bomba squad also. I mean, we're looking back 6 years now, and we have yet to find a guy to stay there, steadily over at first base. You thought maybe we'd get it with Jose Miranda, but unfortunately he got let go from the team. Maybe Kirilloff, he had to retire due to injuries. Now you've got just a revolving door. You had Christian Vasquez a few times over at first base as a backup catcher. I mean, there are just so many things going on that the Twins need to find stability at first base. You thought maybe they get something to happen with Carlos Santana, but unfortunately with Santana, he got traded and then he ended up, moving on. And he's always been kind of a traveling first baseman for sure, but still very productive. Bell has been quite productive despite the fact that he's been on so many teams. He has gotten a pretty solid walk rate and reasonable strikeout rate as well. I mean, when he had, one of his more productive seasons back in 2016 with the Pittsburgh Pirates, of course, that started his career, he was a highly touted player. But now looking at it, things aren't exactly looking promising for him, even despite the fact he had the 22 home runs and 63 RBIs with the Nationals last year. So you would think maybe having him in this lineup, and of course a young burgeoning lineup for the Twins, that maybe some of the young guys at the top of the order would be able to set the table for him. 20 and a half, I'm going to take the under on that for sure. But wouldn't be surprised if things maybe get a little bit of a boost there. I'd like to see maybe just something usually happens when you get one of these guys to come to the Twins. Like you said with Nelson Cruz, of course, he stapled himself as a Twins legend here for sure.
Yeah.
Carlos Santana, when he came in, even that brief time, a notable Twins killer, but still had a pretty decent season when healthy with the Twins. So
Sure.
Hopefully we'll get another one out of those with Josh Bell too.
Yeah, it's this isn't a name that's going to bring butts to seats. No. it's not, but it's good to see if they can get some offense and especially some continuity there at first. So we'll see. All right, next one, Vilde.
Well, the late afternoon window in NFL football this past Sunday was definitely one to forget if you were a Kansas City Chiefs fan or a Green Bay Packers fan, notable of which were significant injuries towards the end of a couple of contests. Did include, of course, quarterback Patrick Mahomes and linebacker, that being micahparsons. Both suffered knee and both suffered torn ACLs in the process, both their seasons coming to an end, and the start of the 2026 season highly in jeopardy for both those players of significant note. Now, of course, Mahomes did undergo surgery. I believe it was, if not yesterday, the day before, after having the torn ACL. So he is on his way to the road to recovery and is quoted as saying that he will be ready come week one. Now we'll see about that. Micah Parsons, on the other hand, suffered that blown ACL and will have to start over from that point with, of course, his injury looking back toward the start of another season. Now, with these injuries coming so late in the season, of course, this year is null and void for them, but 2026 is also looking up in the air, of course, with such prolific players at their positions and also of significance for their teams. Is it absurd or proof? Both teams will suffer in 2026 with these injuries to their star players.
Well, the one thing I'll say, let's start with Mahomes. They're cooked. I mean, it was they weren't getting any better. To be quite honest, they looked like a shell of themselves, and it looked like, yeah, this dynasty's done. That's just in football in general. But for the injury itself, didn't look good, say the least, and obviously confirmed. Not the way you want to end the season. You know, I know that they were kind of holding out for some hope to have this resurgence and whatnot, but it just wasn't coming at that time. Now, if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm looking at rebuilding because they need to add some more playmakers to their offense. I know their run game has been wishy-washy. Pacheco really hasn't been the same. Kelsey I think he's done after this year. I don't see him playing another year. Their defense is still, it's still okay. I don't know if Chris Jones would want to stay around. Not saying that he won't be there, but, maybe things will change there. But this isn't good for them. And especially if he's going to be out the beginning of 2026, that's not what you want to, see because, this is late in the season. Now, TJ Hawkinson kind of had it around this time, too, when they played the Lions. Tore his ACL with a cheap shot hit from Kirby Joseph. It took time. He didn't play at all the first, 6 games or something like that? So it's going to take a while for Mahomes. And then let's get to Micah Parsons. I don't think it's going to affect them as much. I still think, and again, I hate to say it, but I think, Green Bay will still kind of be in that good tier at that time, but when he comes back fully healthy, because you want him to come back fully healthy. You don't give up all those picks and everything like that to have him rush back and then, screw it up even more. So, I think at least the Chiefs are going to suffer as opposed to the Packers. And, I saw Micah's injury. I did watch that game a little bit. And, when it's non-contact, it's pretty cut and dry that it's not good. So, I'm gonna say the Chiefs are gonna suffer more. But, Green Bay very well could, because after he left that game, there was no pass rush whatsoever. No. I mean, Rashawn Gary's okay, but there really wasn't much to deal with in Green Bay's situation. So I'll go with the Chiefs. So I'll say absurd just because I don't think it's going to affect the Packers too much, but it's going to affect the Chiefs much more. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, in the immediate future, you definitely see, of course, the Packers are still in the hunt for a playoff spot, and losing a guy like Micah Parsons is definitely going to hurt. Now, we've seen, of course, in recent weeks, they've been very up and down in their play. They've run into some tough teams. Of course, they had that real marquee win against the Bears a couple weeks ago, running into a buzzsaw here this past week, also, and losing a guy like Micah is going to hurt. But I feel like the Packers are maybe just a little bit better, given the situation. I mean, they had some players beforehand. Now they just are back at kind of square one, but still definitely have the right set of players that they have. Of course, with their defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, very well regarded as maybe another potential head coaching hire in the next couple of coaching cycles. I feel like they'll be better off. It just hurts that you don't have a player like Micah Parsons there to really set the tone overall defensively. Now on the other side here with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, you would think that sooner or later, and I would certainly, the first thing I thought of too, it's like, okay, well, if he's torn his ACL, for lack of a better phrase, I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner. Just the amount of games that they've played, 7 straight AFC championship games, and of course, the numerous trips to the Super Bowl, they've basically played in that stretch in those AFC championship games and Super Bowl appearances. They've basically played a whole nother 2 seasons while some other teams have their season ended the first week of January and thought, okay, they get eliminated from the playoffs, they have a full off season just to rest, recharge the batteries, and get maybe ready for another run here next season. That's going to be good for everybody else. Now, for Patrick Mahomes, not only does he get a full off season, he has to basically start at square one again with trying to develop a new knee, not only learn how to walk again, but of course, being a lead effective quarterback at the National Football League level. Now, when we talk about some of the other notable playmakers, of course, with Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, you said with Travis Kelce, look, this season all alone, they just look tired. They just look sluggish. They're all out of sorts. Everybody defensively, offensively. I think this is just one of those things where everything is just finally caught up with them. You saw it in the Super Bowl and you saw it now throughout this whole season. They just look tired and sluggish, and maybe a full off season to rest and recharge the batteries. Of course, Travis Kelce's getting married next summer as well. In June. You would think maybe that'll provide a little bit extra excitement, but just give them a chance to just turn it off, not worry about such a big playoff run, and maybe focus into the next year that maybe we'll see the old Chiefs teams that we've seen in years past to maybe reconfigure a few things, maybe bring in a couple of extra guys to really retool, what they've got going on in the lab for them. Do I think the Chiefs dynasty is done? I don't think so. This is just one of those years that you see, and of course with the injury too, that's just not going to be this year. So maybe next year, who knows? But with Patrick Mahomes out, will both teams suffer in 2026? I think both teams is going to be a stretch. I think the Chiefs are definitely going to be a little bit more interesting to see, with, of course, Gardner Minshew now starting here. He had a chance to win the game at the end of last week, but it just came up on the short end when he threw that interception, especially when they were in field goal range, and did a little bit more, risk it, risk it for the biscuit, if you will. But I think the Chiefs are definitely going to be the ones to more suffer next year, other than the Packers for sure. So I say it's absurd. I don't think both teams will be struggling next year. I think one of them definitely will for sure.
Yep, I agree. Couldn't agree more. So see what happens when they get back in 2026. So last one, Voldy.
In the world of college football, of course, notable names entering the transfer portal, most notably, of course, a couple of quarterbacks they'll be looking for new homes for next season. Florida quarterback DJ Lagway is entering the transfer portal, as he announced on Monday. And, of course, was also announced that Nebraska quarterback and, of course, Patrick Mahomes lookalike winner Dylan Raiola will also be entering the transfer portal. Both players of which will garner strong interest from the programs that want to make the next jump and, of course, want to be of notable wealth and success, not only at the collegiate, but hopefully at the professional level. Of course, Raiola garnering a lot of recognition, of course, for his mannerisms being of the Patrick Mahomes like, and DJ Lagway after last season was very up and down with to say the least, of course, with the production out of Florida that led to the firing of head coach Billy Napier and, of course, interim coach Billy Gonzalez, and then the hiring of Tulane's John Summerall as the Gators' next head coach. Time for a fresh start for both quarterbacks. Now, be interesting to see here, of course, with the college football playoff set to start here this weekend, which teams are out, which are still going to be going, and how that affects the overall decision-making for these players coming in and out of the portal. Where do you see these two guys ending up in 2026 for different programs?
Well, Raiola, a.k.a. Fake Mahomes.
Apartments.
I had to go there.
Macondo.
I love it.
Macondos. Not Mahomes, Macondos.
Raiola, apparently he's been linked to Louisville early in the process, but that's that is a possible destination, looking to replace Miller Moss. Apparently Miami might be in the running too because
Oh,
Carson
God.
Beck will be out of there as well. So, those are two teams. If I were to bet, if Miami wants to make kind of a big splash, I'd probably say Miami for Raiola. Now, for Lagway, it's tough because I feel like, 28 touchdowns to 23 interceptions. Voldy, that sounds very.
Infamous Jameis.
That sounds very infamous Jameis, but apparently his father went to Baylor, so I think that's probably a strong possibility. Apparently Clemson was really trying to get him to come come over there as well. Dabo definitely probably would, want that type of quarterback around there as well. Willing to take the risks and having that, arm strength as well. I'm going to go with Baylor just because I think it's more of a connection with family and whatnot. So I'll go with that. I'll go Baylor for Lagway, and then I'll go Miami for fake Mahomes. So
I like that.
I'll go with that. Voldy, what do you got?
A couple of interesting situations, of course, not only with where these players going to end up, but where are some of these coaches going to end up too? Of course, openings of which at the University of Michigan. Of course, a couple of notable names that have been linked there. Jeff Brom, who is the head coach at Louisville, has been on that short list, or at least a few reports thrown out there. I don't know if maybe he'll be on his way out, but of course, there's a lot going on there within that athletic department for sure at the University of Michigan, and everything with the football program the last 3 years. That one definitely you want to stay away from for sure. For Raiola, another situation also came up. Really all depends on what happens with Oregon. Now, Oregon and, of course, their quarterback, Moore is his name, Deontay Moore or something like that. I apologize for the lack of remembering his first name. Now, he has definitely garnered a lot of interest with, of course, the draft and possibly a highly touted first round selection quarterback situation as well for him, but he could very well decide to come back next year. And some reports have also thrown out maybe Raiola goes to Oregon under Dan Lanning and his prowess there. So that would definitely be interesting for sure. For Lagway, I definitely want to think that maybe going to Baylor would be a little bit more of his strong suit as well. Being, of course, a Big 12 school, and of course, definitely not afraid to sling the ball down there. With Raiola, it's tough to see. Louisville would definitely be a good spot for him because we saw with what Miller Moss, the former quarterback out of USC, he went there. Things kind of improved a little bit. Of course, you're in Louisville. You're not exactly playing in the, you're not playing the SEC or even for that matter. Yeah, great basketball down there. But definitely, if things go right, you could definitely garner a lot of attention and maybe find your way into the playoff. But if Raiola decides to go to Louisville, I would definitely be tuning in for sure a lot more regularly. And I always kept my eye on Nebraska this past season and the season before too. Just something about a guy who wants to be Patrick Mahomes so bad. I think that would definitely be very interesting to see how his career turns out.
That it would. Yeah, he wasn't good against Gophers, I'll say that.
No, he was not.
So that'll do it for ARA this week. Great job as always, Voldy.
Sir.
Shield shoutouts. It's something you can't see, so let's get it going with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who ya shout out tonight?
Well, there is only one shout out to give out here this week, and it belongs to the greatest of all time. That being the one and only 17-time world champion, the Grand Slam champion, the prototype, the doctor of thugonomics, the general of the Chain Gang soldiers, that belonging to Johncena. Though he finished his career with an unfortunate submission loss to Gunther this past week, his impact in and out of the ring will never be forgotten from the never seen 17. One of the greatest. And of course, I still hold John Cena in very high regard. I still have this. This thing is almost 20 years old, and I still proudly rock my John Cena Chain Gang Soldier jersey. I wore jorts because of John Cena. I had my hair cut just like John Cena in like 2006, 2007. I was obsessed, still slightly, but not to the point where I was dressing just like him. Still have nothing but respect for the greatest of all time. And this end of the run here, the final time, the last time is now. And it was unfortunate to see him leave on a loss, but still nothing but love and nothing but greatness from the GOAT as well. He will be missed in the ring, but still will never be too far away from the WWE. It looks like he'll be serving as an ambassador, but we'll definitely miss seeing him compete in the ring for sure. That's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week.
All right. I'm glad you brought this up. Great job with Shield Shoutouts as always.
Thank you, sir.
Having a guy tap out to the whole never give up mantra and everything like that, that was the worst thing that you could do. I don't know who made the decision on that, whether it was Cena, whether it was Triple H, or anybody. Having him tap out is the dumbest thing ever. Okay, if he lost, okay, like the fair and square. But having him tap out? Really?
Right.
Come on, man. All of the blood, sweat, and tears that man has gotten for that company, and you have him tap out to a guy that's boring as hell. Oh, I could do a slap off your chest. I don't give a shit. John Cena should have went out a winner. Honestly, I think. Then that's just my opinion. But John Cena should have went out a winner. And by the way, my aunt, who unfortunately passed away to cancer in 2021, was a big John Cena fan. She thought he was hot as hell, apparently. So, I just wish he would have went out with a win or a close loss. But tapping out, that's some bullshit, to say the least. Anyway, great job with Shield Shoutouts. You guys know the deal. Get those picks in. It is a prize week, and you're probably wondering to yourself, what am I going to win if I go this week? Yes, Sirski. Yes, we got the 5-year anniversary hats. Guys, get those picks in. You can win one of those bad boys. We'll give you your choice of one of those. Both are awesome. I have them as well. So make sure, get those picks in. The bundle is coming up. We only got a couple more weeks, so make sure you finish strong. And right now our leaderboard's looking good. Like we said, Hunts is leading the way. Voldy is right behind him. And then RJ as well. So the top 3, who's going to get it? We don't know. We shall see. Get those picks in. If you're like, screw it, I'm just going to buy the 5-year anniversary hat. Well, that's great because we've got hats. We got the winter caps as well. We've got the tumblers. We've got the quarter zips. We got the sweatpants. It's still cold out there. It's going to get even colder as well. So we've got that for you. We got stickers available as well. Put them on your laptops. Put them on your cars. Put them anywhere you see fit. Get those. We got them for you. Let us know with prices. Thank you, International Fleet Graphic, for the stickers. And shout out to our guy, W2 Performance, Will Rattel, at www.w2performance.com. And let me tell you, Will Rattel, Jimkleinsasser, very similar, I will say. I'm not going to lie. They're very similar. I honestly think they are. I'll have to bring that up to Rattel next. Make sure you check out the Brotherly Ballers podcast. Tyler Hermann, Jack Vickers on all your fantasy football needs. Check out our guy, Troy Stoudemire Jr. He'll be watching the bowl game here next week for the Gophers. TLS Performance. Former Gopher as well. And then make sure you check out the Popcorn Bucket List. Nick Dahlhoff and Ryne Myhrberg as well. Omni Entertainment. Make sure you check out our guys over there on the YouTubes, socials, the whole deal. So that's going to do it for episode 265. Reminder, we're off next week because what is it? Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you and yours. Merry Christmas to you, Voldy, and
Merry
the
Christmas
crew
to you
as well. If there's any big news, we will let you know. We will have some content as well. Have a great Christmas. Enjoy your time with your family. And we will talk to you after that. And skol Vikes, go Wild, go Wolves. With that being said, let's get it rolling because it's time to close the show. So, folks, as always, remember, you're keeping this up.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.